Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's where I started my podcast. It's where I edited my podcast. It's where I put sound design into my podcast. And it's where I monetize my podcast. And it's from where I share my podcast to every single other podcast platform. It's the place that I decided is the easiest and best place for me to podcast. Thank you. Check it out. Hey there, Chris Cast Season 3, Episode 5. This is about how, while everybody has been desperately trying to destroy the NRA and counter gun control and all these things, in spite of all the mass shootings that have happened in schools and in neighborhoods and in discotheques all over the country, in cities over long weekends during the summer, vicious amounts of gun suicide and gun crime, gang crime, various and sundry things that are attributed to white supremacy and all kinds of other police shootings and all these other things that people have gotten all buzzed up about. While this is happening concurrently, since 1983, America has become the most gun-permissive country that America has ever been since 1983. If you look at a map under constitutional carry in Wikipedia, you will realize that since 1983, during which time only Vermont was considered to be a constitutional carry state, now more and more states are becoming constitutional carry states, which is to say, the term constitutional carry, also called permitless carry, unrestricted carry, or Vermont carry, refers to the legal public carrying of a handgun, either openly or concealed without a license or permit. Now, before I take the first break, there's this perception, because Hollywood makes all the movies, there's this perception that owning a gun requires a permit. That is only true in like 5 to 7 states. In most states, which gun owners call free states, there is no obligation to get a permit. There's not even a legal obligation to get a background check. When I started buying guns back in 2011, I bought all my guns through local gun shops, or I bought them online or ordered them and had them delivered to FFL dealers, Federal Firearm Licensed Gun Dealers. They would do a background check, and I would pay for my firearm and then get it. I would need to show them 2 or 3 forms of ID, one including a license or a state ID. Another thing I needed was, let's say, a car registration. The third thing I could possibly use was a water bill or a phone bill or whatnot. Two or three of the things that needed to match were my name and my address and the state in which I lived. So, but quickly I also realized that once I became close friends with people who had guns, that there was no expectation once I was inside the club to ever need to buy a firearm from a local gun shop ever again. All my friend and I needed to do was print out a form from a PDF form that was not even an official site, but a site from uh, private sale transfer PDF.com or whatever, and I'd just get down the legalese, fill in each other's names, maybe make a photocopy of their CCW or concealed carry permit or their license or whatever, co-sign, and there would be no need, while both of us in the parties would theoretically hold on to these receipts. There is no legal precedent for needing to mail anything in for public record. So I could buy and sell with my friend. I can buy and sell with someone I met on a message board. If I trusted them, I can buy and sell in and out of my family. The only legal restraint is I can't buy and sell privately outside of my state. So there's this perception that everybody who owns a gun has a permit. That might be true in California. Like I said, all the scripts about gunplay, gun ownership, et cetera, et cetera. The narrative is also, does he have a gun permit? No, there's no gun permits in Virginia, and we're not even a constitutional carry state. We're an open carry state. We're considered a free state. We have shall issue with regards to concealed carry, but you do need a permit to conceal carry. You need a license. There's no such thing as a gun license either in, I would say, 42 to 45 of the 50 states either. All those things that you hear on television and the movies are patently false outside of most states. Let me see. Which states require gun permits? Let's see. Gun laws of the United States. Licensing. Licensing. I think only 3 states. Connecticut passed a licensing law. Missouri repealed its licensing law. Licensing laws, I don't think, here we go. Permit to purchase, 9 states have them. License to own, 3 states, Illinois, Massachusetts, and New York require a license to own a firearm. New York's law applies only to handguns. And registration, District of Columbia has a registration law that also functions as a license requirement. California has a firearm safety certificate. Connecticut has a permit to purchase. DC has registration. Hawaii has permit to purchase. Illinois has license to own. Maryland has permit to purchase. Massachusetts has license to own and permit to purchase handguns only. Michigan has permit to purchase. Nebraska has permit to purchase. New Jersey has permit to purchase. New York has license to own. North Carolina has permit to purchase. Rhode Island has permit to purchase, and Washington State has firearm safety certification. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 out of 50 have a permitting or licensing for the ownership or purchases of firearms. Other than that, all the other all the other states, all you need to do is go into a store, have a background check, show a license and a secondary form of ID, and for most of them, you go home the same day or within an hour or within 10 minutes. And according to constitutional carry, which, like I said, is completely taking over the country by storm, here's the Wikipedia entry. In the United States, the term constitutional carry, also called permitless carry, unrestricted carry, or Vermont carry, refers to the legal public carrying of a handgun, either openly or concealed without a license or permit. The phrase does not typically refer to the unrestricted carrying of a long gun, which is a rifle, including an AR or AK-47 semi-automatic sporting rifle, a knife, or other weapons. The scope of and applicability of constitutional carry might vary state by state. The phrase constitutional carry reflects the views that the Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution does not abide restrictions on gun rights, including the right to carry or bear arms. The U.S. Supreme Court had never extensively interpreted the Second Amendment until the landmark case of District of Columbia versus Heller in 2008. Prior to this, a tapestry of different and sometimes conflicting laws about carrying firearms developed across the nation. In deciding the case, the court found that self-defense was a, quote, central component of the Second Amendment, unquote, and D.C.'s handgun ban was invalidated. The court further stated that some state or local gun controls are allowed. The Heller case was extended by the Supreme Court in the 2010 decision, McDonald versus Chicago, which held that the Second and 14th Amendments to the U.S. Constitution were fully incorporated, and thus the right to, quote, keep and bear arms applies to the states and not in a watered-down version, but fully applicable, and limits states and local governments in enacting laws that restrict this individual and fundamental right to keep and bear arms for self-defense. In 1986, wait, hold on. Right now, let's see. As of July 16th, 2021, as of June 16th, 2021, here you go. Here's the list of constitutional carry states where you can carry permitlessly and without license. You can conceal carry or open carry, concealed carry, a pistol, a firearm, a handgun, without ever getting anybody's approval, without getting the sheriff's approval, without taking a CCW class, without getting going through the extensive rigmarole of paying for permits. Like, it took me months to get my CCW, and they palm printed both my hands, and I think they did an eye retina scan and all this stuff. As of June 16, 2021, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, Idaho, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Maine, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, New Hampshire, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, West Virginia, and Wyoming do not require a permit to carry a loaded concealed firearm for any person of age who is not prohibited from owning a firearm. Permitless carry in North Dakota is applicable to residents only. Non-residents must have a permit to carry a handgun concealed or openly. Permitless concealed carry in Mississippi only covers certain manners of carrying. Permitless carry in Oklahoma applies to both residents and non-residents, 21 plus as well as 18 plus non-residents who can carry without a permit in their home state. All aforementioned jurisdictions do not require a permit to openly carry, except for North Dakota and certain localities in Missouri. On July 26, 2014, Washington, D.C. became a permitless carry jurisdiction for a few days when its ban on carrying a handgun was ruled unconstitutional. The ruling was not stayed. The ruling said that any residents who had a legally registered handgun could carry it without a permit, and non-residents without felony convictions could carry as well. The ruling was then stayed on July 29, 2014. In June 2015, following a victory in a class action lawsuit brought by Damas de la Segunda Enmienda, Ladies of the Second Amendment, an affiliate of the Second Amendment Foundation, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico's carry and conceal licensing regulations were struck down, eliminating the requirement to obtain a permit. On October 31, 2016, the Supreme Court of Puerto Rico denied a motion for reconsideration of a previous Court of Appeals decision that had found the Weapons Act to be constitutional. Vermont does not have any provision for issue of concealed carry licenses, as none has ever been necessary. As such, Vermont residents wishing to carry handguns in other states must acquire a license from a state which is valid in the destination. All other constitutional carry states previously had concealed carry license requirements prior to adoption of unrestricted carry laws and continue to issue licenses on a shall-issue basis for the purpose of interstate reciprocity, allowing residents of the state to travel to other states with a concealed weapon, abiding by that state's law. So it goes state by state, but this is all new. This is all new since like 2008. And then, 2010. So all of this is happening very, very quickly. It's amazing. So many states are now green, if you look at the map. And the rest are mostly shall issue, which means that if you apply for a concealed carry permit, unless there's really anything in your background, such as, felonies, etc., maybe misdemeanors, I don't know, but anything in your past such as that, you will get a concealed carry permit. Concealed carry is so common now, maybe not in the cities that my listeners are in, but in general, the laws to prevent people from secretly carrying firearms on their person without your knowing is so completely permissible now that you had better think twice about ever trying to assault anybody, thinking that things would ever be a fair fight. Like, it's the joke that they make about don't mess with someone in Texas because they are probably armed is becoming more and more ubiquitous and commonplace. And the barrier to entry, which is, going through the 8 hours of training and applying and spending hundreds of dollars on a permit, and then going to the sheriff's department and having your fingerprints taken and all that other kind of stuff. It's way less now. It's as if by virtue of being 18 or 21, you automatically have a driver's license without ever taking a driver's test, without ever anybody permitting your car or requiring you to have insurance or anything. Just whatever you want to drive on the streets, that's fine. I don't think all y'all know that, so I thought I'd share that with you. As you, all y'all might be, you might be stuck in the days during, I think, between 1995 and 2005 or whatever, when there was an assault rifle ban and high-capacity magazines. And Alexa, what years were the assault weapons ban?
Sorry, I don't know that.
Hey Google, what years were the assault weapons banned?
I don't know, but I found these results on search.
I don't know. I guess I have to freaking look it up myself. Assault weapons ban. Federal assault weapons ban. It's about 1994 to 2004. Like during those years, the Public Safety and Recreational Firearms Use Protection Act, or Federal Assault Weapons Ban, AWB, was a subsection of the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act of 1984, a United States federal law which included a prohibition on the manufacture of civilian use of certain semi-automatic firearms that were defined as assault weapons, as well as certain ammunition magazines that were defined as large capacity. The 10-year ban was passed by the U.S. Congress on September 13, 1994, following a close 52 to 48 vote in the U.S. Senate, and was signed into law by U.S. President Bill Clinton on the same day. The ban applied only to weapons manufactured after the date of the ban's enactment, which is funny because every AR-15 and every high-capacity magazine was then grandfathered. So there was a huge black market buy and sell of all guns made before September 13th, 1994. The ban applied only to weapons manufactured after the date of a ban's enactment. It expired on September 13, 2004, in accordance with its sunset provision. Several constitutional challenges were filed against the provision of the ban, but all were rejected by the courts. There were multiple attempts to renew the ban, but none succeeded. Studies have shown that the ban had little effect on overall criminal activity, firearm homicide, and the lethality of gun crimes. There is tentative evidence that the frequency of mass shootings may have slightly decreased while the ban was in effect. Now, let's see. Anyway, so that has been dead since 2004, and ever since things have been getting way more permissive. There have been restrictions on import-export. There have been restrictions on importing surplus ammo, importing surplus firearms, importing surplus semi-automatic AK-47s and semi-automatic Soviet and Eastern Bloc and Chinese SKSs, and all kinds of other things like that. But it hasn't affected. We won't even go into methods that are loopholes that allow people to fabricate their own firearms. There's never been a law that's permitted you from making a firearm and using it using it personally. There's no requirement to need a serial number on a firearm that you create of your own handiwork. There's a subculture of, they call them ghost guns. You call them ghost guns. Gun people call them 80% blanks, 80%ers, in which case and there's only parts of guns that are considered guns. With regards to AR-15s, what's called the lower, the part with the hand grip, the place you put the magazine, and the trigger assembly, that is all in an assembly called the lower. The lower is legally speaking must be serialized if it's a real gun that is to be bought and sold, but everything else, the barrel, the upper, the bolt, even the hand grip, the trigger assembly, the buffer tube, the stock, the gas system, the sights, the handle, the forward assist, everything you can buy online. The only thing that's considered to be the firearm is the little bit of aluminium that is where the sear and the hammer live. It's not even the sear or the hammer; it's the little assembly that contains those things. It's called a lower. On a handgun, for example, a Glock, the only thing that you can't buy online is the bit of plastic, polymer that houses the trigger assembly, that houses the magazine, that houses the it's basically the grip, the trigger guard, and I guess they call it the dust cover that goes to the front of the gun, along with the rail. But the slide, the barrel, all the guts that make up the sear and the hammer and the trigger mechanism, and the slide release, and the spring guide, the barrel, like I said, the sights, etc. None of those things are considered to be a firearm. Only the lower of the gun. So you can buy 90%, 80% of all your parts, and then when it comes to building your own firearm, you can actually buy 80% completed lowers for AR-15s, lowers for Glocks, and then all you need to do is get a Dremel and a drill, and if you're smart, you will get a guide, a template, and then you will just drill out and Dremel out parts of it until you've, what is it that Michelangelo said? When I look at a piece of marble, all I can see is the sculpture inside. So that's what an 80% lower is. It is basically enough close enough to a statue, but enough of just a big hunk of marble that it's not taxed or considered to be a work of art yet. And then you get all the all the chip away by numbers, I guess you use a hammer and a chisel. You get all the templates for chiseling away all the extra marble until you're left with a David or a Pietà. So that's all I know. The only thing that I can think of now is the real time bomb that Trump left us after his single, potentially first or only administration. The time bomb, the toxic time bomb that he left is he filled. I don't know why Obama didn't do this, but he grabbed, sadly, Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away. Her timing was terrible, but now it's majority conservative in the Supreme Court. But also now there's been a huge takeover by the Republicans, by the conservatives, by the Tea Party, and by the MAGA people. There have been, and these aren't even neocons. These are Second Amendment conservatives. These aren't neolibs or these are not neolibs or neocons. These are evangelical Christians. These are devoted Catholics. These are people who are committed to originalist interpretation of the Constitution. These are people who believe in God and the devil and heaven. These are people who believe in an afterlife. These are people who believe in demons and angels. These are people who believe that abortion is a sin, and that there is a single-minded attempt at killing generations of people. They might even believe that the sacrifice of all these aborted babies is some sort of blood sacrifice to some sort of demonic ball or some sort of Luciferian thing. I'm not saying they're all like this. I'm not saying any are like this. I'm saying that there are a lot of federal judges now that have tenure, lifetime appointments, that owe their appointments to Donald J. Trump and his posse, including Steve Bannon and all these other people, and as a result have been put in like a bunch of moles, like a bunch of cells into the federal and state judicial system, and will have the kind of effect that the judge for the, the judge for the Kyle Rittenhouse trial was an appointed Democrat. He was an appointed Democrat. So I'm not going to, but a person like him who is a law and order judge, a Western supremacy judge, a norms and values judge, a constitutional originalist judge, and a Ten Commandments judge. And that's the gift that keeps on giving. That's the gift that doesn't care about getting voted out by Joe Biden. That is a persistent interpretation of gun law and a persistent interpretation of law that will chip away at Roe v. Wade. That is going to completely change the pH balance of the entire country in a way secretly behind your back while you take over the streets with BLM, while you take over the streets with Build Back Better. There is a deep legalistic framework that is dismantling the restrictions of those things that disallow Bubba and Josiah and Jacob from always having a firearm on them, always having a gun on them, and then having the judicial backing that if they are in any and if they feel personally threatened, that they personally believe that their life or the life of someone around them is threatened, they can use that deadly force with aplomb. They might be attacked by there might be tons and tons and tons of AUSAs who are out there trying to make their name as prosecutors on behalf of the state. But there's enough precedence amongst the judges and amongst the law enforcement offices, including federal and state judges, that quite possibly it'll become so commonplace that more and more prosecutors cannot prosecute someone who uses lethal force as a personal defense, be it in the middle of a riot, in the middle of their home, in their cul-de-sac, wherever they are. Even if they're, quote, not supposed to be where they are, the fact that they should not be molested and have no expectation of being molested or physically harassed or assaulted means that they can go ahead and take the life of the person who dare put their hands on them. That's where everything's going. So while there might be a perception, do you hear the people singing a song of angry men? This is not Les Miserables. Oh, rather it is Les Miserables. Les Miserables, I've only read the musical. I've always stopped reading Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. But I do know that what it is it's a really exciting summer of a couple nights where a bunch of revolutionary vanguard of the proletariats stand up against the man by creating a barricade and being willing to die to fight against it, and they feel connected, and they feel in love, and they feel brotherly love, and they feel like they can do anything, and then they're just completely decimated. No, I will not use the word decimated. They were completely razed. They were destroyed. They were dismembered. They were turned into mincemeat. They were turned into ground chicken. So, same thing happened to the Wall Street, walk on Wall Street or something like that. Just be careful out there, okay? Be careful out there. You know the Billy Bobs and hillbillies out there say things like, "You can't behave that kind of way in my town. 'Cause in my town, you don't know everybody's got a gun. You don't dare break into my house. I'm gonna shoot you dead." But how many frickin' states are now, and that doesn't even include concealed carry, permitted, shall carry states. So I just want to wish you luck. After the break, I usually take more breaks than this, but I'm on a roll. After the break, I will give you all my deets. Welcome back. This is Chris Cast, Season 3, Episode 5. My name's Chris Abraham. I'm at chrisabraham.com, ChrisAbraham.com, also abraham.su. You can email me at chris@abraham.su. My phone number is +1 202 352 5051. You can use that to connect with me on Signal, WhatsApp, what's the other one? Telegram. You can find me on Skype at Chris Abraham, one word. On Facebook, I'm at Chris Abraham. On YouTube, I'm on Chris Abraham. On Twitter, I'm at Chris Abraham. Instagram, I'm at Chris Abraham. I think on TikTok, I'm Christopher Abraham. I think Christopher J. Abraham, maybe on WhatsApp. I don't know. Who uses WhatsApp anymore? I think WhatsApp is a hookup app. Anytime I hear anybody talk about WhatsApp, it's like, WhatsApp me? No. I'm talking about Snapchat. I don't even know what my Snapchat is. But I feel like Snapchat is the cliche of the thing you ask for from a girl if you wanna be her boyfriend. And that's it. That's it, I think. Oh, you can listen to this on YouTube. I'm banned on YouTube for might be 2 weeks, might be 2 months. So I guess this is not going to be up there for a while. But I don't think many people listen to it there. So it's anchor.fm/Chris Abraham is my first line of defense. And you can find me on Apple Podcasts and Stitcher and Spotify and Amazon Music. You can find me on iHeartRadio and TuneIn. And you can find me on Podcast Addict and Pod This and Pod That and Podcast Index and all these places. So please, no matter what, if you use iTunes or whatever, please write a review, give me some stars. I think that in Apple iTunes, on Apple Podcasts, I think there's 1 5-star rating, and don't tell anybody, but I think it's just me. So why don't you join me in saying awesome things about me? Love you, mean it, and I'll talk to you soon. Ciao.